What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica Podcast. Episode number 175. Alfredo, Steve Santos, and Cristiano Oliveira in studio. What's happening today? I'm going for you.
Hola, señores y señores. And hopefully you guys can see us with all this fog in the background. Hopefully we're coming in crystal clear. And if not, well, check us out on iTunes. Either way, you'll be able to listen to us loud and clear.
Steve Santos, how's the weather in Toronto?
It's not as foggy as where you guys are. That's for sure.
No, it's not. Where's the horn, bro? Where's the fog? Where's the foghorn? Yo, you spent a half hour looking for and now you don't use it. There it is. Steve, you see it?
Wow.
Yeah, let's let everybody know that it's foggy outside. Were they playing that during the actual Benfica game time in Madeira? Like prior to the game? Any?
I don't know if there was any ships. They only play them for ships. Anyway, on tonight's podcast, we're gonna try to make it happen. We have the Atletico Madrid game to talk about, and what a game that was. And also we plan on talking about the Unión de Madeira game, but I guess that's all gone in a fog. I wonder how many times I'm gonna be able to use that joke with the fog. Hey, why don't you get me one of those? I actually like those things. They're good. But it's all right.
I asked you what you wanted.
I'm good. I didn't know you had them. Anyway, also national team comes up this weekend? National
Thursday.
Team plays Thursday. All right. We'll try to fit some of that in. For you guys actually expecting us to address some of that Bruno Carvalho shit that went on last night.
Why even pay any?
All I heard was really Benfica. Benfica. Benfica.
That's good,
Okay.
Benfica.
That's enough.
That's all I heard, man.
That was good.
How the fuck? How do you bring? He brings something to the studio, which is
Why
I gotta
even
find
talk-
out where
but
I
you
can
know,
get that. That's
Alfredo,
very nice.
By talking
You've
about
already
we're giving
wasted
this-
too much time on it.
Exactly. We're giving this clown credibility.
Let's go. Let's do this. Benfica played Atletico
Bro.
Madrid. Well, go ahead.
The dude, I've said this many times. If you listen to me here, I think I've said it on Twitter, whatever. I said it on a couple different occasions. The dude is a smart ass business guy. You know
I
what?
don't know about smart.
He is. He's very smart.
He's not smart at all.
He's very smart.
You didn't, obviously, that's my. He led 4 organizations, and all 4 closed down.
But what he's,
I don't think he's that smart.
Exactly. After he left, they closed down. I'm talking about
No, he's closed down while he was there.
I'm talking about what he's done for this club. He's cut the debt. He's helped them out miraculously. He's done tremendous. He's done a tremendous job.
You don't know that.
Well, they were basically bankrupt before he took over.
Yeah, and go
And
check
he
how
got
many
him-
money he owes the lunch.
But he got out of that. He got him up from under there, and he's done a couple of wise business decisions. Even with players, he cut their salaries. You know what? He's done a good job as far as infrastructure. But when it comes to on-field stuff, the guy is an absolute buffoon. You know what? He is a great businessman. Stick to that. Stop being a fan. He's acting more like a fan than he is a president of a club. He should have a little bit more class and integrity in himself, not to come out and make himself look like an asshole, and his club look like a little club distrital. You know what I mean? So again, I'll say it. Tremendous business-wise for this club. I don't know what he's done with the prior 4 companies, but for this club, he's been very good, in my opinion, off the field, on the field, and stuff like that. The guy's an idiot.
for this. Yeah, we already gave way too much time to this.
Well, this I haven't been in like 3 weeks. Can I talk?
Yeah, you could talk.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Santos.
I'm not going to talk about that guy.
I know. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I don't think we should pay it much attention.
No,
But we do have fantastic followers that wanted our opinion.
Maybe
so that was my opinion.
I think that his accusations, especially the one where he brings out that box where you open it up and there's Eusebio's shirt in there, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, it was dropped off to me." Who's to say he didn't pay some kind of a staffer to go and get it? And then he's making up all these accusations, which obviously are going to get looked at.
But what's wrong with that? Sporting's been crying for 50 years that Eusebio should have been there, so they give him a shirt.
No.
What
happened is they said that all referees that come to Stadio de Luz in the Seychelles get that
Eusebio
as
shirt?
a gift.
That's what's up.
And also dinners and shit.
That's good. Hey, listen, Porto gave guys fruta fresca and prostitutions, blowjobs,
Wait, I thought that was the same
and
shit.
alcohol and stuff like that. I mean, so Eusebio's shirt compared to prostitution, I come home to my wife and I say, look, baby,
it's a lot cleaner.
I got an shirt.
It's a lot.
Baby, I came home. Look what I got on my hey, you know what I mean?
I got
up.
crabs.
You know what I mean? I got crabs, baby. Here you go. I'm not out of a scratch. I'm not kusar.
Anyway.
You know what I mean? So when you're looking in terms like that, it was every shirt. Not that bad. It's clean. You guys talk about it.
We're on fire.
Steve, this is the portion where we have fun and Steve wants no part of it.
No.
Steve, no fun, Santos, 6.
Steve is going in a corner right now. Anyway, so let's talk about the Atletico Madrid game before it vanishes from our head.
We're not going to talk about the Union game?
I don't know how it can.
Fuck you guys.
I don't know how it can escape our heads. I mean, that was quite a game. But let's start at the beginning, as we should always do. Júlio César, Semedo, Luizão, Jardel, and Eliseu across the back. And Almeida and Samaris in the midfield. Gedge and Gaitan on the wings, and Jonas and Jimenez. And Steve, as we said, Jimenez, all the motivation and the incentive was there. Good play by Rui Vitoria. And look, I thought he played pretty well.
He was decent. If nothing else, he had the intensity that we needed for a match like that. But yeah, it was for sure that he was going to play some minutes. For me, the question really was if he was going to start and if we were going to play a 4-4-2 from the start of the game, which we did. Looked shaky at points, but it was overall a pretty good showing by us. And yeah. It was a good move to start him in. I'll go with that for sure.
It was a good move because he was hoping to light a fire under his ass due to the fact that he was basically a bum with the year he spent under that club. So he's hoping that he came out there with his attitude and his grittiness, and he wanted to show the fans what they missed out on. Unfortunately, it was the right play by Rui Vitoria. Unfortunately, it wasn't. He didn't really do nothing, or much to make you remember him or remember his play in this game. But I can absolutely see what Rui Vitoria did. That was the only change he did from the weekend. Brought him in instead of Mitroglou. He tried to add a little bit more speed and dynamic to the attack. Hey, listen, if he came over with a 2-1 win, biggest victory in the Champions League in the road and God knows how long, probably since before Steve was shaving. So obviously he pushed all the right buttons, and it worked out this time.
That's for sure. I thought that that the teams, just looking at the game, I mean, we know that Atletico Madrid was going to start and they were going to come on top of us. And I thought we stayed organized. I thought that the defense did pretty well to close up spaces. There were a few scary moments. Júlio César made some saves, as he's paid to do. There was some clamorous misses by Atletico Madrid, if you want to call it. So we were lucky in that aspect, but I think that we were very cynical. And I think that for a team that plays in the Champions League, teams that have these type of opportunities, the teams that capitalize, they're the teams that are going to have success. And I think that we capitalized on the two chances that we had.
We did. And, one thing that really gets me upset here is when people say, luckily, Júlio César. It's no luck, man. The guy, this is the reason why we signed him. The guy was a world-class goalkeeper who struggled over the last couple of years, obviously with his move to Toronto FC and his move to the QPR. That didn't work out. But prior to that, the guy was one of the top goalkeepers in the world. And obviously, the last thing that we all remember about him was the 7 goals he gave up against Germany. So I think that's unfair. This guy came to Benfica as a good goalkeeper. And right now, it looks like he's been motivated. That the fans, the stature of this club has definitely got this kid. Oh, not this kid. He's not a kid anymore, but got this guy to step up to his old self. And he's been spectacular, man. That's what he gets paid to do, and that's why Benfica brought him on and signed him. Even though some people question the fact that he's an older goalkeeper, and we had just lost a 20-year-old goalkeeper to Atletico Madrid for 16 mil, and why not keep the youngster? Yada yada. Benfica made a business decision, pocketed the money, brought in a world-class goalkeeper who right now is the best goalkeeper in Portugal. That's exactly what he was there for, and was to make those kinds of stops. And so I'm not really surprised by anything that this guy's been able to do for this club yet so far.
Absolutely. He's been tremendous, just as Jonas has. But I think we've given Jonas enough love throughout these podcasts. I mean, from a guy that we got basically on a free, he's done tremendous for this club. And, I don't want to get into it again. But, Steve, tactically, the team, give us some of your tactical observations of what you saw in the first half.
The first half was a little bit scary. I mean, if you watch the moments right after the first goal, we looked lost. I don't know if it was a matter of nerves and the occasion got to us, and we probably thought, okay, Atletico are going to roll us over now. But there was a lot of a lot of poor positioning, a lot of bad decisions. And like you say, call it luck or call it just having a good goalkeeper. We were able to stay in the game, and our next play where we were able to actually get out of our own end and put something together, there was a goal from Gaetan. It was the timing of that goal, basically breaking up that very strong period that the Atletico had just after their goal, for me, was one of the most important parts of the match. I mean, they were, let's say what it was. They were steamrolling us for a while, and we were lucky not to come down with another goal. So the timing,
just like the timing of your internet. I think what Steve was going to say, the timing of that goal, in my opinion, I think the timing was perfect. I think the timing woke up this ball club. This is a team that came into Calderon having not won a game on the road under Rui Vitoria, have not won a meaningful road game in the Champions League in God knows how long. And this is also against a team that had the best home record at home in the Champions League of any club. I mean, the last goal they've given up was like a year and a half ago to AC Milan. So they had a tremendous record at home. And so Benfica obviously goes in there with lacking confidence, not having the confidence that they obviously gained throughout most of the game. You could tell once that goal came, it was kind of like, you know what, man, we got nothing to lose. Let's kind of open up. Let's try to play our game, and let's try to go forward and create some chances here. And I think that's exactly what happened. Benfica were able to come away and level the score. And then after that, you expected Atletico to kind of get on top once again, because, you know, they're the home team. They're the team with more experience, at least in these types of big matchups at home, because they've been so spectacular under Simeone. And Simeone had never lost a game at home in the Champions League as coach of Atletico Madrid.
So I threw in a stat last week. They had won the last 21 games of the they had won 21 games of their last 24 at the Calderon for the Champions League or for European competition. That's quite an impressive stat.
It was, absolutely. And when you compare that or look at Benfica's record on the opposite side in the Champions League over the last 6-7 years,
especially away,
even at home, Benfica's record hasn't been. I mean, we're talking about a club that hasn't advanced from the first group of the Champions League in what, 5 out of the 6 years or whatever it is, since like 2009, whatever it was. I mean, it's been a very long time since Benfica advanced. I know it's my fault. I should have had the stats, guys. I apologize. But obviously, we could all get here and Google them, and we'll all find out.
But Benfica had quite an impressive home record that wasn't a loss. They held, I forget what it was, but of course, this all included Europa League also. But they hadn't lost the game at Stade de Luz for Europe in a long time. Also, that record stood still for a while.
We lost to Zenit last year.
I don't know if João Gomes can throw. Oh, before
we lost to Zenit last year.
João Gomes can throw it up that stat.
Maybe João Gomes, if you're listening, throw it up. But I know, hey, listen, in my opinion, it hasn't been a spectacular home record.
No.
And so that being said, Atletico is Atletico. Simeone's been spectacular. Benfica lacked all the confidence in the world. So many questions coming into this game, regarding Benfica on the road under Rui Vitoria. Right now, I don't really want to get too carried away, and I just saw that over the weekend prior to the game against União de Madeira, which was obviously fogged out, when they questioned Vitoria about playing on the road. It's like, obviously playing on the road, we just won in the toughest grounds in Europe. I mean, listen, it's a fantastic result. I'm proud. I'm glad, and especially against the Españolitos, I love nothing better than to beat them guys. But that being said, guys, this one game. Let's not get carried away.
But it's a huge game.
It is a huge game. And even if we went on and beat Madeira at home, I still wouldn't have been that impressed. I need Benfica to go into Turkey. Okay? Prove to me that you mean business. Come away with the win. And you're more likely than not, if you come away with the win in Turkey, to be on top of the group, man. And you are on top of the group. But if you get those 3 huge points, you're more likely than not to be able to finally get the hell out of group stage in Champions League competition.
Yeah, but I mean, for the calculations that we were doing, obviously, we were thinking that this was going to be a hard game for Benfica. We might have even gotten out of the Calderon with a loss. So right now, you're looking at you're in with the Galatasaray win. I mean, tie. You're second in the group. You're still in a good position. You gave up the result at the Calderon, so you're okay. But with the win at the Calderon, that's huge. That's
obviously
that's 3 points that people don't count on.
When you look at when you looked at these games on paper, this was obviously the toughest game of the group stage that Benfica was going to have to face, which was going into the Calderon and trying their best to hold on to a draw. And I think that's exactly the way they came out and played, because you saw all they did was defend, and Atletico was all over them. And like I said, I think that's where Steve was going prior to his internet falling out on us or fogging out on us. I think the timing of the goal, I think that was perfect. I think Benfica just said, you know what, we got nothing better. We got nothing to lose. Let's just go forward. Yeah. And obviously, listen, I think Semedo got a little lucky on the cross. Obviously, the ball ricocheting bounced out to Gaetano. One time,
the cross is still there.
There's the cross still there. But, luckily the clearance went straight to Gaetan, who had to just hammer it on goal, and he did. And Gaetan, once again, man, this guy is showing everyone what a world-class player he is. And I think everyone at the Calderon was regretting the fact that they did not go forward and acquire this guy rather than some of the bums that they've bought over the last 6 months. I think
Gaetan is ridiculous.
Gaetan's a tremendous player.
He's so filthy. It's almost illegal. Anyway,
I mean, he's no Tarap. He's not filthy like that.
wait, where's he filthy in the night?
He's not filthy like that
in the night. Anyway, so to me, Cristiano, the biggest thing, and I hope that Steve could join us here shortly. The biggest thing for me,
the internet. What's he doing? I mean,
the big. Foi ao quintal mudar o satélite.
That must be, bro.
The biggest thing for me with this Benfica team that it's being led by Rui Vitoria, and I think I might have mentioned this to a couple of you guys. I think that it's the approach. I think it's the way that he has the team approach in these games. I know we are inferior to Atletico Madrid on paper. I mean, if you want to compare the two budgets, there's no comparison. But to me, the biggest thing, and we've already seen this at the Dragão, the biggest thing is how Rui Vitoria sets his team up, and the team looks like they're not afraid. And Cristiano, you'd mentioned, even though we were being hammered by Atletico Madrid offensively, and we were defending well, we weren't afraid to come forward whenever the chance presented itself. And we passed the ball around. We had some kind of fluidity in our game when we were allowed to come out of defense. And I think that's something that is the biggest difference for me so far between Rui Vitoria and between JJ, is because JJ would have gone to the Calderon and he would have played with 10 guys behind the ball.
Yeah, that's the one thing that used to piss me off about him. And it's not just a JJ thing, man. I mean, this is the thing to me that trickles down to the national team. I always call it the Portuguese coach syndrome. You look at Mourinho, you look at the national team coaches, Paulo Bento, Queiroz, prior to that, now with this clown Fernando Santos, they play defensive, in particular when they got a 1-0 lead, they track back and try to hold on. And yes, I know for Mourinho, more often than not, it works out, even though this year it has not. But I just don't like that. I think if you just sit back and you give the ball to the other team, you're more often than not, they're going to create chances. To me, it's always been, if I have the ball, it's kind of like that Barcelona tiki-taka method. If you have the ball, obviously the team can't score. And so it's kind of like the approach that I wish that I hope that Benfica would take. And I think I mentioned this prior to the Football Club do Porto game, which was, or after the game, which, when they brought in Almeida, I don't like the defensive changes. I know Almeida's played well, but I don't like certain moves that these clubs make. I like the fact that you go out there, you play your tactics, you play your best 11 against the other team. And in fact, if the other team wants to adjust, let them do it. But I'm tired of Benfica always being the one club to adjust.
Yeah.
And it looks like so far he hasn't quite done it yet, but I mean, we're only a few games into the season, and really, this is the biggest game we played so far. I know we played Porto at the Dragão, but followed by this Atletico game. But this Atletico game, as far as wins and stuff like that, this was as huge as they come. We're talking about a team that had not won a meaningful game on the road in the Champions League competition in years. Talking about an awful, awful, awful record against Spanish teams throughout our history.
1982, thanks to Sergio. It was a streak that we hadn't beaten a Spanish team, or we had a losing streak against Spanish teams since 1982.
I mean, we got spanked by Celta de Vigo, bro, 7-1, whatever the hell that was. That was like one of the most embarrassing days of my life. And I know we don't want to talk about those negative moments. I know some of you guys have posed the question, what are some of our favorite moments in Benfica history? Obviously, that's a moment that I will never forget, the 7-1 shellacking to Celta de Vigo, but it's not a proud moment, guys. And Well, we just got Steve back, so
he's back.
very proud to announce that Steve Santos is back.
What did you think? I already know what Cristiano is going to say, but I'll let him go if he wants to go. But I'll ask you first. And Kevin is asking this question, and big shout out to Kevin. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Kev.
Steve, what did you think of Nelson Smith against Atletico Madrid? I mean, and that was a serious concern that we had on the run up to the game was Benfica's right side.
Yeah, and I think Nelson Smith was actually really, really good. His defensive game is getting better game by game. I believe it was after the match, after the match. I think when he got called to the national team, he was giving a lot of praise to Luizão and how much he's learning from him, and it's evident. I mean, there hasn't been a game that he's playing in that you don't see improvements. I mean, his positioning is getting a lot better. The way he's better at controlling the space in which the winger that he's marking can play in. Like, he doesn't get too close so he gets beat. He doesn't stay too far so that the winger has way too many options. He's growing in leaps and bounds. I think the call to the national team was thoroughly deserved, and I think at this point, based on what we've seen, we look to have a very high quality right back on our hands. I just would hope to see that we hold on to him for long enough that we see his true potential in Benfica jersey rather than selling him off too soon.
Yeah, there's already rumors that a couple people are interested in him. I think Inter was one of them.
Inter, and I think City was the other one I read today.
City's the other one that they mentioned.
And Cristiano, ever since we laid eyes on the kid here in Harrison, New Jersey, I mean, no engano, man.
He impressed us since day one, man. And the one thing about him, obviously, he lacked the experience at right back. This is a position he's only been playing for 3 years. So he really doesn't have the knowledge positionally. But one thing that he has and that the good Lord has blessed him with is the one thing you can't teach, which is speed. The dude is quick, and so even though he may be out of position,
he's got Ginga too, man.
No, that's fine, but I'm talking about defensively. Ginga doesn't help you defensively, okay?
He's got to be careful with the Ginga sometimes.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
when he's trying to get out of sticky situations, his first instinct is always to dribble when it probably should be something a little less risky.
It's the midfielder in him. But you know what? That's offensively. We're talking about him defensively. And defensively, Ginga does not help you out. So when he might be in a position where otherwise a more experienced defender would be, he can make up for it with his speed. And it's the one thing that's been impressive so far here throughout his first 8-9 games at Benfica. But like you've mentioned, great point. The first time we ever laid eyes on him, because ladies and gentlemen, he had not played a game for the senior team prior to the game against the Red Bulls on Sunday afternoon. Steven was here from Canada. We had his lovely presence with us, and we all sat there and watched this kid for the very first time. I'm not lying to you. I've never seen him play on no Benfica B team. I've never seen him play anywhere because I don't even watch Benfica B team. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I know I should, but I'll make a habit of it sooner or later. But I had never seen the kid play until that moment, and I remember the three of us looked at each other and said, kid looks like he knows what he's doing.
Nah, no engano.
No, he doesn't. And I don't know how much the club knew about this. I don't know how much they banked on this, but I said it before and I'll say it again. If Luis Vieira, Rui Costa, even Vitoria, whomever's in charge of bringing in players and whatever it is, if they let go of Moxie because they knew what they had in this kid, man, my hat's off to them, man. Fantastic job.
Now they have to.
That's a great scouting job by you guys, because none of us, I don't think even the most diehard Benfiquista had any idea that this kid was going to be exactly what he is so far. So if you did, my hat goes off to you.
I don't, Steve, I don't think you heard us, but or heard me. I was saying that the biggest thing with this Rui Vitoria team is how he approaches and prepares the team. And while in years past, JJ might have played with 10 guys behind the ball, it seems that Rui Vitoria prepares the team to be more courageous, to not be afraid to play these bigger teams.
I think it's Rui Vitoria is actually a little bit more conservative than JJ. I think what Rui Vitoria has is he's much better at making players believe in themselves and making players believe that they have what it takes to get a result in a game like versus Atletico, because okay, JJ on the norm in Portugal is a lot more attacking than Rui Vitoria is, and when he went to certain difficult games, he would park the bus slightly more than Vitoria does.
Even in Portugal with Sporting in Porto.
Exactly. In bigger games, he is always that little bit more defensive, but Rui Vitoria leaves a lot more guys behind the ball in a regular game than JJ ever did. A lot more guys. I mean, just this double pivot with two guys always constantly in the midfield behind the ball is more conservative than JJ. But what I like about Rui Vitoria is there's a different attitude. He has a way of connecting with the players that I think that Jesus just couldn't do it. Jesus would berate you and cursing and really get on people's case. And Rui Vitoria, I think, is more of a man manager than a tactician. Personally, from what I can gather, from what I've seen so far, I'm still not completely sold on Vitoria's tactics, but the way he conducts himself, the way his teams perform for him. I mean, the game against Atletico is just the perfect example. They fought like lions from start to finish. Whether or not they were the better team or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is that they had a common belief and they believed that they could get something out of the game, and they did.
I think that's unfair. I think that's unfair to say. I think it's very obvious to anyone that watched Benfica over the last 6 years and now this year under totally different management. Yeah, they have very, very different approaches, and obviously you prefer Rui Vitoria's approach because it's much more calmer and it doesn't get guys as nervous. But that being said, I think it's unfair. I mean, Steve, if you're going to talk about this team fought tooth and nail against Atletico Madrid, I mean, do we not recall the game last year against Zenit at home where the crowd stuck around for 15 minutes and clapped them due to their effort? This team absolutely played and believed in JJ. JJ had fucking strikers playing left back and goalies playing striker. And I mean, these guys believed, and Benfica performed to a level that we had not seen Benfica play. And I mean, since I was a little kid, I mean, this team, you're right. When you're singling out certain games, yes, he was a pussy, for lack of a better word. Okay, yeah, very defensive. But to say that the guys believe in Rui Vitoria, didn't believe in JJ, I think that's unfair to say. I mean, the guy was a spectacular coach. The approach is totally different.
He's more of a player's coach than JJ was.
Okay, it seems that way, but none of us are in the locker room with this guy. We don't know. That we don't know for a fact. Now, what we see on camera, Steve, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Don't think I'm trying to pick on you because I'm with you 100%. On camera, it looks like much more of a, class act. It looks like, oh, that's the type of guy I'd want my kid to play for. But then again, there's coaches that get the best out of you by getting in your face, and there's others that just sit back and do nothing. But then again, it all depends on the player. There's guys like me, for example. I needed you to be on top of me constantly. You weren't on top of me. I was going to do what the hell I wanted. You know what I mean? I literally was going to do what the hell I wanted. So it all depends, man. I grew up in an atmosphere where my coaches got in my face. I went to a Catholic school where, they all got in my face, screamed at me. To me, it was just like normal, whatever. It wasn't like these new kids nowadays who become a bunch of pussies and cry over little things. Tough love get you to where exactly you're supposed to be. And I don't regret anything. Well, there's a couple of regrets, but I don't regret any of that. I would have done it. To me, I love JJ, and I think players love JJ. So, Steve, I'm with you. Two different approaches. I just don't agree with your point that players believe in one guy. Because, Steve, that's BS. If you saw the last 6 years under JJ, just like you did, Steve, and I believe you did, you know very well that these guys damn well believed in JJ. Look at what the hell happened in the Taça the Oliveira Conde. He got into these players' heads. He got into Vitoria's heads. Don't tell me these guys don't believe in him.
I didn't say they made him, that Rui Vitoria makes them believe in themselves, not that they didn't believe in JJ, but that's okay.
I think that there's a clear difference, and I think that I'd much rather have a team that's going to believe the way they believe in Vitoria right now than the way they believe in JJ, because we saw it at one point in 2 years ago, when the season ended and he had that whole thing with Cardozo at the end of the cup. We thought that he had lost the team because your guys believe in you. You lead them so far. Okay, you play like this and the results are there. But at one point, everything falls apart. And if the results are not there, these guys stop believing in you. And I think that's something that JJ fell victim to at one point. I think that if you're a player's coach, there's a lot more that you could rescue from a player's psyche than to have a guy just being in your face all the time.
And we all questioned it, and that was terrible to watch. I mean, and at the time, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I wasn't sure if I wanted JJ back after what I just seen happen in the middle of the park at Estadio Nacional over there. But that being said, he led the team to back-to-back championships the very 2 next years. And then last year, the job that he did with the team last year, guys, I don't think we all remember sitting here, and all 3 of us, and along with everybody else that contributes to the podcast, we all questioned what the hell kind of team this team was going to be, because we lost everybody, and he did a spectacular job. So, Steve, I'm sorry if I misunderstood your point.
I think you did, but that's okay.
I apologize. I just went on that rant for no reason. But, to me, yeah, you're right. He makes players believe in themselves, but I think JJ does as well. I just think that their approach is totally different, man.
And that's where I was getting to. I think JJ's more of a tactician who's very after every minute little detail and wants to control every situation, where Rui Vitoria is more of a, like Alfredo likes to say, a player's coach. I think he plays a lot more mentally with his squad than JJ does. I think JJ is more of a hands-on guy in the training session, controlling where every player is placed on the pitch, where Rui Vitoria is slightly different. From what I could tell, he's leaving a lot more up to 1v1 battles and stuff like that. I got to watch more, but from right now, from what I've seen, it's more of a man manager than a tactician from Rui Vitoria.
Steve, you've said it before. You said it yourself. Rui Vitoria looks like a more of a better man manager, like you put, and JJ is a better tactician.
Yeah.
Okay. And JJ is a perfectionist. When you see his team play to the level that he wants them to play, they're hitting on all cylinders. I mean, it's just like a Sporting last week. They spank everybody, and they make it look easy.
They were playing against 10 guys for most of the game. So if you don't do what he's saying, there's a bunch of caralho and a bunch of folders is hurled at you.
I never heard of folders and a caralho hurt anybody, bro.
Depends. Sometimes when you get hit with a caralho in your forehead, you might fall back. Anyway, so to keep this moving, so important win at the Calderon, and who the
huge win, not
who
important, huge.
Who the thunk we would have been in first place right now, and having to go to Turkey next, which is a very hard game.
That atmosphere. That atmosphere is going to be worse.
Yeah.
Than the Calderon by far, hands down. Yeah. The atmosphere over there is going to be nuts.
But one last thing before we move out of the Calderon, and one thing that move out of the Calderon because it's getting hot. And when I say hot, I'm talking about the Toshes.
You're not talking about the Pyros that Steve hates.
We're talking about the Pyros. And look, I know that Steve has a different stance on it, but my stance on it, I think that it adds to the spectacle. But I think the people that are launching them, I think you got to be responsible. You can't throw that shit into the crowd, man. That's a
There's no room
move.
for that.
There's nothing wrong with a couple guys just moving aside, light up the flare, let the flare go in the middle of uma fogueira, faz conta que tá uma fogueira, and it's pretty, man. It adds to the atmosphere. I know that, Steve.
I don't think a football pitch, this is me being idealistic, but a football game isn't a place where you should fear that you're going to get hurt as a spectator. That's just the way.
Yeah, but Steve,
the way, it's idealistic. I know it is, but I don't agree with
in the world. I mean, listen, if the worst thing that I got to worry about
happens everywhere in the world doesn't make it right.
But Steve, if I go to a game and the worst thing I got to worry about is a pyro, right? I'm actually, in good luck, because if I go to certain other countries, I might get stabbed. I mean, you know what I mean?
Does that make it right?
No, absolutely not. But to me, You know what? Peggy said it best to you in a conversation. It's a totally different conversation. And Peggy, if you're listening, I tip my cap to you, my friend, because I agree with you 1,000%. If the club is so against it, why in the hell are you posting pictures all over your website and whatever calendars, whatever, with these beautiful pictures of these flames in the stands? Don't support it then. You can't be a hypocrite.
Chris, it's on my website. It's not my pictures, dude. That's what...
Now, would you listen? I got to be honest. I'm not against it at all. I love it. I love the spectacle. I love the way it looks. I'm very, very against what the hell they did and throwing it on other people. Yeah, I'm against that, Steve. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the gun conversation going on here in the United States. Guns don't kill people. People do. Whatever. It's kind of like the Pirates. The Pirates don't hurt people. Stuff. It's the clowns that have them in their hands that throwing them all over people. Those are the people that should get punished. That being said, I'm gonna say something that a lot of you guys probably will not agree with, but I would not be opposed to Benfica actually getting one of these UEFA bans and playing at home with an empty stadium, because I think that if you hold these teams accountable, okay, the groups, the fanaticos, whatever, will learn, because at the end of the day, all you're doing is hurting your club. So if that were to happen, I wouldn't be against it. I know it sucks as a Benfica to say this, and I don't want my team to be harmed by someone else's dumbass freaking thought process. But that being said, it's the only way to teach these clowns a lesson. Is now you're going to be out of a game. Club's not going to have any fans in the state. Next time, don't do it. You have to hold people accountable.
Yeah, I know that the clubs want to promote the football game as a family atmosphere, but what the hell is a 2-year-old doing at the Calderon on a night like that? I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a family outing, but 2 years old, man, at night, I don't know.
Fredo, that goes exactly back to my point.
But dude, a 2-year-old, bro?
Why can't he not be there?
Exactly. I mean, I agree with you, Steve. Hey, maybe the parent didn't have a babysitter and he had to bring the guy. The only way I bring them.
I still remember when I was a kid and there was big games. I always used to go with my dad to the old Stade de Luz, and there was one big games like that. My dad would not take me. You know how the atmosphere is going to be, man. First of all, it's going to be super crowded.
Mas isso era nos tempos da guerra, man. Hoje em dia, o gajo pensa que as coisas são diferentes, man. Isn't that wrong? I mean, I'm with Steve. I mean, you want to bring your kid to the game, bring your kid to the game. But at the same time, you should be, aware of your surroundings. And I mean, like Alfredo, you're onto something. Like, kind of, you should know
2
better.
2 years old, man. 2
you
years
should
old
know
is very
better.
young.
But what if it was a 5-year-old? What's the difference?
Alfredo, you're right. But ideally, you should not be right. There should be no reason for a 2-year-old.
I already said that. If you throw in, I think it adds to the spectacle, but be smart about it, man. It's like if you're in a crowded office, you don't freaking fart, man. You got to go to the bathroom.
Wow, somebody comes do it all the time.
You go in the bathroom and you lay one out because you're trying to be responsible about what's going on with your body,
bro. Somebody comes do it all the time. I'm like, nasty mother. They're like, what, bro? You don't fart? No, I don't fart. People have no shame, bro. Burping is like the worst thing I do in public.
So yeah. So anyway, let's.
My favorite thing talking about farting is going into a grocery store, like a friend or whatever, farting in the middle of the aisle and walking away and leaving the friend there and like, por tu caralho. And they get the looks.
Depends what aisle you're in. If it's the foreign food aisle, that might be okay.
If you're in the cage podre aisle, you're good.
Anyway, let's move on to the next one. And the next topic would be the União da Madeira game that Benfica supposedly was actually supposed to play this past Sunday. And obviously, if the game was played, was supposed to kick off early. I think 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock there.
Yeah, 11 o'clock here. So
yeah, that's crazy. 4 o'clock. Fog? Yeah, I used to see in the morning.
I mean, it's an island, bro.
It's Madeira. You're right. They do everything.
And apparently, I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass, but apparently the stadium wasn't built in the best location. I think they get a lot of fog there. I don't know. But the thing is that I think they waited for a good 45 minutes before they called the game. So I thought it would. I mean, you can see Lick. I mean, you can see the picture behind us. That's a guy in the field, and probably is what maybe I want to say. Quantos metros, Steve? 2 metros? Não, 2 metros, pá. É mais que isso, man.
Hold on. Before we get too much further into this, just to finish off the last topic. Cynthia, Simba 242, she said while she was in Portugal, Sport Lisboa Benfica told her and her husband that they shouldn't take Rui, their 2-year-old son, to the game.
Yeah,
they didn't advise her to do so. So
it's an advisement, I think that for a 2-year-old kid, who I'm a parent. I've been a parent for 2 wonderful kids now, and I know a 2-year-old holds very little attention. They got attention deficit disorder by nature at that time.
That's BS though. To me,
well, you don't know. You're not a father. You don't know.
What the hell does a father got to do with it? I mean, I don't think the kid's ADD should have anything to do with a clown in the upper deck freaking hitting him with a torch on the head. I mean, don't tell me it's because the kid wasn't paying attention.
No, so it's nothing to do with
okay, exactly. So that's why bringing that up to me makes no sense. Look, you want to bring your kid to the stadium, you pay the ticket, bring your kid to the stadium.
It's a heavy atmosphere, I think, and it's not advisable for a 2-year-old. 5 years old? Yeah, okay, 5 years old. You know, you're able to stand on your own. You know, you're aware of your surroundings. Anyway.
You get a clown on the upper deck to throw a tosha down, you're still going to get hit with it.
A clown is always going to be
40. You ain't paying attention. You ain't paying attention.
A clown is always going to be a clown, and I think that to me that's the biggest thing is that, and as I've said here, you know, you want to do that shit. It does act to the spectacle, and it's pretty, but do it responsibly. I don't know if Steve froze. I think he just doesn't want to talk about this topic anymore. Anyway,
ding.
Unión de Madeira. So the game got canceled off, and apparently Unión de Madeira was waiting for the gate receipts for this game to do something, because on Monday they were all upset that Benfica didn't want to play on Monday. Of course, Monday is a mandated date by UEFA and by FIFA, I should say, that every player must report to their national teams if they're being called. Benfica, I think, 6 players that they had that were called out to their respective national teams. So obviously Benfica couldn't play on Monday. I don't know what the big issue is. I don't know why he was getting all upset. Then the Unión de Madeira posted on their official Twitter a picture of the stadium, or a picture of the location where the stadium sits on Monday, which is clear as day. And Benfica answered with the picture of the 11, and the guys that had gone to the national teams, they're all fogged up, you know. So I thought that was a nice touch. So as far as rescheduling in the game, they're looking at somewhere at the end of December. I think 22nd or 23rd. I think that's where the room is at.
I think it's the only time that they have an open date or something like that between now and then, where they have the mandatory 72 or 80 or whatever it is
between games,
hours span. They have to have a certain window in between games, and I think that the 22nd or the 23rd, I believe those are the only dates that are open that have the adequate time off. Yeah,
you know, I have no problem with that. I think that. You know, as long as there's enough time between games, and it's not going to hurt Benfica. Of course, Benfica is going to be looking at their best interests in this matter. The league is getting. I think there's a 2-week period where the league will have to come to a decision on when they're going to schedule the game for. But as long as it's not something that's going to hurt Benfica's best interests, you know, whatever guys were waiting to get paid by Unión de Madeira, hey, you're just gonna have to wait till Christmas. Just think of it as a Christmas bonus. Here we go. Anyway, anything else to add to this Unión de Madeira? Pete wanted to know who we thought was the best player at Unión de Madeira. I thought that Gaetan was magical again. We couldn't even see him. He was so fast. I don't want to say. I'm going to stop here. Just I had the jokes. I had the jokes. I also Cristiano thought that when Jonas came out of the Atletico Madrid, thought that he was.
He looked like he
was hurt.
Yeah, he looked like he's growing. He was touching and grabbing, but I don't know. Maybe he's just BS and trying to come off the field nice and slow and waste more time.
Yeah, that could have been.
Did you see that, Steve?
He was in the lineup,
but he was done, dude. I don't know if there was actual a little bit of gamesmanship trying to show that he had maybe a slightly pulled groin or what, but I can tell you one thing for sure: the guy was exhausted. He was absolutely knackered.
All right, let's get into some Twitter questions, because should we talk a little bit about the national team? Well, the national team, if they tied this game against Denmark, they will qualify.
All right. They need one more point to get to France in 2016. Yeah. Here's a question for both of you. Do you guys?
What are you, Neil?
I think I know you. No, fortunately, no. I mean, might be both.
Neil comes to the podcast and he asks this question.
No, so the question. Well, you just said you Twitter questions. I'm gonna take a question. I'm not gonna take a question. I'm gonna pose a question.
Yeah.
You guys think? I think I know what inside what you guys feel, but when you're looking at the big picture, you think this is the right move to call Semedo up to the national team already?
What's the alternatives? Who are the alternatives? Cedric?
Forget about the alternatives. It's about 9 games.
Who's the
I agree with you.
Alternatives?
I agree with you on that.
Okay, then that's what you think got to take into consideration.
Portuguese football has this habit of the minute someone looks okay, let's move these guys up, put them on a pedestal. And I'm asking, you think if it's too early yet to call this kid? I mean, you could have called him up to the under 21 team. and giving him some experience. I mean, you're talking about a kid that hasn't played. He's never played at a national team level, according to what I know.
So call Bernardo to the under-21 team.
No, but Bernardo's a guy that's played. Last year, he played a full season of professional football. We're talking about a kid that's only 9 games into his 18, whatever, into the big boy soccer. And all I'm saying is Portuguese have.
Is it too premature? You think?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, but here's the other thing too, Cristiano, that you want to take into consideration. I know that probably wouldn't have even been a fleeting thought in his mind. I think that Angola or Cape Verde was sniffing around. I'm pretty sure that he wasn't going to go play for Cape Verde.
Come on. If he went to play for Cape Verde, he would have the worst agent in the world. I mean, come on, guys.
But I think that considering the alternatives, why not? I mean, the kid's been playing well. He plays week in, week out. João Pereira, I think, is hurt. Cedric, I think, plays for Southampton. As a matter of fact, he was considered one of the best right backs in the English Premier League.
Pereirinha is going to get
the start. Plays for what, Lazio?
No.
Who's he play for?
Pereirinha is a Wolfsburg or whatever the hell.
You're thinking of Vieirinha, and I believe he's hurt. That's why Semedo got called, if I'm not mistaken.
So maybe.
I don't know. Is he going to play?
He might not. Man. I think that Cedric starts ahead of him if Cedric's healthy.
I think that's a smart choice. You have a much more seasoned player. How much better he is than Semedo, I will have to find out. But right now it's not an equal playing field. So yeah, but
what's the right move?
The fact that he is playing at a higher level than Cancelo, who I believe has played a few games for Valencia now, but has not been as good. I think it's the right move. That's all.
It's the right move. Let him come to the locker room. Look, let him come to the locker room. Let him check out which type of deodorant Cristiano Ronaldo uses and what type of gel. It's nice to be in the in the locker room with these guys. Get the experience.
As a Benfiquista, I'm happy he got called up. But as a Portugal soccer fan, I don't know, man. We have this tendency of calling kids up early and burning them early. Those guys pensam que são melhor. And I'm not saying that this kid. Oh, that's right back. I don't care what position. Portugal has the history of doing this with young kids. And that's all I'm saying. How many young kids have we seen get called up to the national team after having 3 good weeks and all of a sudden disappear? We've seen that with other players. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm asking.
We've also seen good players being stuck on the under-21s for too long too. So there's both sides of the coin.
All right.
Just quickly before I forget, there's a really nice piece on Nelson Semedo on Mais Football for the guys who can read in Portuguese.
I think, Steve, did you tweet that out earlier?
I don't remember if I did.
Yo, who the hell sold Jorge Jesus? Yo,
never mind.
These people are cracking me up on Twitter.
Anyway, here's the Twitter questions, and we'll get the. Let me see. I want to make sure I go in order here. Nelson, what's the probability of André Carrilho joining Benfica on a free? I think that's slim to none. I think he's going elsewhere.
17%. Nelson. How's that? Is that good?
Steve, what do you think? I think that if he has any probability of joining a club in Portugal, it will be Porto, not Benfica.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to break our wage structure to get Carrilho at this point.
I would love it. I would absolutely love to go in there and steal, one of the pearls, if not their pearl.
I would too, but we've had this discussion. If it means paying him more than Luizão or Jonas or Julio Cesar, I'm not interested.
Okay, here's one from Jean Gomes. Taking into account that the match in Turkey should take into the account of the match in Turkey, should Benfica play against 11 substitutes against Vianense? I think that last year we saw the B team take the train up north to play whoever they played last year. So there's a good chance that a lot of the guys like Cristanto, Feisa, Lisandro Lopes, Silvio,
maybe even your boy Tarat.
I think there's a good chance that they'll play against Vianense. I think Benfica has a good enough second line to beat Vianense, as they should. What do you guys think?
Completely agree. I think it's exactly the type of game where you should be allowing guys who aren't getting many minutes but are in your first squad to play a little bit of competitive football and to give the fans maybe a glimpse at some of the youngsters coming through the B team. I mean, who wouldn't like to see Renato Sanchez playing up in where is it? I think it's gonna be Barcelos that match.
Yeah,
I don't know, bro. A couple years ago we had I forget the name of the team right now, it escapes my mind, but we had a team in like 3rd division in Spain, slap around Real Madrid. What was it again? My God, I forget.
Alcorcon.
That's right. Alcorcon beat the star-studded Real Madrid.
So you never know. Yeah.
Nah, I agree with you guys. If I could play some of the young kids and get my boy Tarap in there and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. Get Carcella start and Braik and Cristante, man. I mean,
yeah, you gotta give some time to Cristante.
Where's this kid? I mean, he's not even getting called.
You got Pizzi that wasn't been getting playing time. I think we have enough quality on the bench to.
Let's get back to this Cristante thing. What he's not playing on the B team. He's not making the convocatoria for the games on the 8th. I mean, I'm just asking. I'm not trying to be rude or criticize the guy. I'm really asking. What the hell? What's happened to this guy?
I think he should be looking at some time on the B team, but I don't know who's ahead of him.
Dude, if this guy can't get playing on the B team, how is he going to play on the A team?
Well, but I don't know. I mean, they might not want to break up whatever is going on in the B team's midfield just so he could get playing
right
time.
Now, it's more important to develop Cristante and get something out of him than it is the B team.
I'm with you. Here's another one by
Wait, Steve wanted to get.
Go ahead, Steve.
There's more to it, I think, than just him playing on the B team.
I think his contract doesn't allow him to.
Contract, or there's got to be more to it because there's a player that obviously has ability. Why are you just sitting him, letting him waste for now a year and a half? It just something doesn't add up. I don't think he's played a match for the B team. He's played very few minutes for the A team. Something doesn't add up in that situation.
Yeah,
I'd be lying to you if I said I knew what it was, but there's something's fishy.
Steve, to say he plays very few minutes, that would mean he'd have to play minutes.
He played a little bit under JJ last year.
Okay, I was talking about
we're talking about Rui Vitoria's reign.
Talking about now.
He hasn't played a minute.
He hasn't. Not even in pre. Well, he played the first 2 games in preseason. Yeah. That was it.
Here's another one by João Gomes. After the game in Turkey on the 21st, we'll host the Lagartage on the 25th. Would you put your best 11 against both or change player/tactics?
Go for the slash. Go for the throat. Put your best players out there.
I think
because if you go out into Galatasaray, Turkey, and Istanbul, and you come away with the 3 points, you pretty much got a foot already into the second round of the Champions League. It'd be nothing better than come out first place in the group because obviously your matchup in the second round will be a little bit easier. It depends. It could be hard, but at least on paper, that's the expectation. And then obviously you want to go over there and you want to step on the throw and beat Sporting and move them right back to where exactly they belong, which is third place.
Yeah. Steve, what do you think?
I completely agree, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. If the game in Istanbul obviously shows some sort of maybe difficulty or something towards the end where you have to change players to rest others that will rest others or something like that, yeah, that's a good thing. But starting 11 versus both has got to be your best.
Yeah. Nelson had a question here. It's part of that game that everyone knows: kill, screw, or marry. And Nelson, I'm not going to answer that one because the choices that you gave us are all men. So I don't know. I won't be doing any men or killing any men. Let's see.
I'm lost.
No,
here's better that way, Chris.
I'm gonna throw it up. Look. Kill, make love to, or marry. And the choices were Pinto da Costa, Bruno Carvalho, Luis Oliveira.
Can I kill all three?
Which one would you kill? Which one would you fuck? And which one would you marry?
Yeah, watching this podcast right now, Fredo.
Well, it's past 9:30, so that means that the little Bolinha is up on top.
When you do the edit on this, you gotta fazer o bleep, man. Beep. Mas tá bem. Kill. Olha, let's see. Epa, this is too complicated.
No, don't waste your time.
2 of those questions is something I don't intend to do ever. You know what I mean? So
that's like, if it was women, that's different. That's a different story.
I don't play with hypotheticals,
Here's one from Timo.
I can tell you, I make love to. I mean, I'll give you that list.
Make love to the orelhas. Grab the orelhas.
No, I wasn't gonna pick any of those 3 guys. I wasn't gonna pick it. One of these little get in the way, bro.
Here's one from Timo. Any of you going to any matches in the near future?
Yeah. You paying?
I'm very loosely. I'm planning on going to Portugal either November or December. So I'll be attending a game during that time. I'm there.
Steve, what about you, Steve?
No. Steve's got other plans.
Steve agora.
If you guys are new to the podcast, we are actually planning a meeting in 2017 around early spring in Portugal. So start saving those pennies.
Start saving up, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to go on one of those all-nude, all-inclusive cruise line shit.
What?
No, that's not it. That's
No.
not the trip. My bad. Wrong trip.
Here's one from Sergio. If you needed to invest in one position come January, what position would you reinforce?
Easy. Number 8 position.
Yeah, that's
all day.
I think that's all three of us. We're on there.
Wait, you don't know. Steve's thinking, bro. You can tell he's thinking. Look, you
No, I'm not
see the
thinking.
fog coming out that way. Look, fog.
8 or as much as it's not nice to say this because he's been playing well lately, I'd like a better left back.
That's what my boy.
Come on, man.
Sick.
Deixa lá o gajo, pá. Deixa o Papo Sick em paz, pá.
Pop Sick was the man. Yo, he made the Champions League team of the week. Leave my boy alone.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's one from Sergio again. What is your all-time favorite Benfica moment? I think we were all read this question before we came on, and Cristiano's got one, and I don't know. Steve
No, I got multiple.
I got one.
yeah, but one
Well,
is
you gotta
more
choose
vivid.
one.
Is more vivid than others. I think for me, it's very hard to pick one particular moment, especially when there's a few moments that are fresh in our heads from our recent past. But it's hard, man. We're not like Sporting that wins the title every 14 years, so maybe we could remember that.
So we did go 11 years without him, man. Let's not
So-
kick rocks.
But we have a lot of memories to remember. So for me, it's hard. Cristiano's got one.
Proud moments. Beating Juventus in Turin in their new stadium, especially after my boy Andrea Pirlo came out and talked all the trash he did prior to the contest. That to me was probably one of the most proudest moments. Obviously that game brought us into the UEFA. It's not Champions League, brought us to the UEFA finals, which we wound up losing to Sevilla, unfortunately. But the one moment when you talk about, to me, you say Benfica, and I think about plays and whatever, just the moment in the game. And it was a 1993-94 UEFA against Parma. And Rui Costa jukes Dino Baggio in the midfield and springs Isaías, who alone goes around Bonucci, puts Benfica up 1-0. To me, that's just the moment that when it comes to Benfica, I know it's probably, one of the moments that you're like, really, Chris, that's it? But to me, it is. I was in love with Rui Costa. I was very young at the time. And I had been in love with Rui Costa ever since the 1990 World Cup when he scored a goal against, I believe, Australia from like midfield, which Portugal won 1-0. And then he scored, obviously, the last goal also in PKs when Benfica beat Brazil to clinch the back-to-back World Cups. So I've been in love with this player for a very long time now. And so when I seen that one play, just a play that sticks in my mind is a fantastic play. At the Old Stadio de Luz, 130,000 standing up, screaming with no pyro, Steve. But just fantastic atmosphere, and that's a moment that's always stuck. Just because I think it's the whole Rui Costa thing. To me, it was just a spectacular play, and it just. I know there's probably many more that you guys could mention and maybe even refresh my mind. I'm like, duh, how didn't I think about that? But to me, that's a moment. It's not one of those, oh my gosh, such accomplishment. That's why I'm saying, as far as proud, the whole Turin Juventus, to me, that was a moment that also sticks in my mind.
Yeah,
Steve.
Hey, before you go, Steve, if you guys want to ask us any questions, I think that might be the last one. So you want to get in some questions now, we'll answer them. I'm not going to entertain this Jorge Jesus guy on
That's
Twitter.
My man, yo. He's funny as hell.
That keeps tweeting at us. But if anybody has any questions, just tag Benfica Podcast, and I'll see him on the feed, and I'll throw him.
It's hilarious.
I'll throw him off. Steve, your moment, bro.
Recent history. Rodrigo's goal wearing Eusebio's shirt.
Many, man.
That one for me in terms of the game that it was in, the football we were playing, just the moment, it was spine tingling. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
That's the one that I have that I could just pick up really quickly was that one.
Bro, there's thousands of them we could pick.
There's so many.
I mean, the Simon goal at Anfield, the free kick against Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's like so many that we could all pick, and like, wow, Montora's running around without his shirt, todo monkey, caralho, mas there's so many, man. Lifting that cup with boring ass Trapattoni after going 11 years of freaking misery.
Yeah,
that's a moment that sticks up there. Yeah. I mean, there's so many, but we all have our own little favorites. Steve's Rodrigo. Steve, that was everybody running around with those. I mean, that was wow. Yeah,
for me as a kid, and I remember this because I was perhaps in either third or fourth grade. Benfica winning at Olímpico against Roma with the goals from Filippo Vic.
That's 83.
Yeah, that's way back. 83. That's probably my earliest memory. But I got tons of them, man.
Felipe Week was like only the third foreigner ever to play for Benfica.
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
9.
I think
That's
that
Ericsson
the
days.
João Pinto 6'3", the Cesar Brito exhibition performance against Porto.
Coming off the bench, scoring 2 goals, 2-1.
There's so many, man.
I mean, if we're
lot.
gonna go into that, the Paulo Souza, they get a red card. Paulo Souza guarda-redes fazer uma grande defesa.
There's a lot of them,
like
man.
the guy. Who was the guy that posed the question? He said it was João Pinto 6'3". Sergio, I'm sorry. That was tremendous. But Benfica went through the summer quente, verão quente. So much going on around this club, and anyone that's spoken to me about Portuguese soccer at any time over the last 15, 20 years. And I like to tell everyone, the best team I've seen in Portugal was that 1994 football, Sporting, I should say. Sporting Clube de Lisboa.
That's Maluk,
That
man.
team, Balakov.
That's Maluk, man.
That team was tremendous.
That's Maluk, man. Vai deitar, pá.
I think the year before
there's a better team.
Very, very
there's a better Benfica team than that and around that time,
That team that did not win the title, that team was freaking awesome. We had a bunch of question marks. We signed Futre for 6 months, comes in December. We had so many questions. And João Vieira Pinto, a guy that was on the cusp of leaving and joining Sporting that summer if it wasn't for our president driving to Madrid and convincing this guy to finally stay. And then going out to scoring a hat trick in the first half. Benfica coming away with a 6-3 victory. That was sweet as sweet can be. And that was a moment that, as you guys know, I had the pleasure of meeting Paulo Souza. And I spoke to him for about 15, 20 minutes about that one game, and he just put his head down, and it's just one of these things that we'll forever talk about, that moment right there. So Sergio, that was a great moment. But to me, that's a team that was absolutely stacked. I'm talking about teams that didn't win titles. That team was awesome. What do you mean? Balakov was the best player to play in Portugal in the 90s. Don't give me Rui Costa and Field because they weren't finished products yet. Balakov was the best player in Portugal.
Valdo, man.
Come on, Balakov, man.
Valdo is a great player. That team that played Boa Vista at Taça Portugal final that I was fortunate enough to watch live. Futre, Rui Costa.
That's the year that they won 6-3. That was the year. That's the year.
That team for me was probably one of the best Benficas I've ever seen.
Vitor Pineda. That team was spectacular. But that 1994 Sporting team, the year before Figo and Rui Costa obviously left us, but Paulo Souza, Balakov, Figo. This one was Peixe. Paulo Torres, you have Stefan Fox, whatever his name is. That team was stacked, dude. That team was stacked.
Here's your next question from Meg. Meg, what's going on, Meg? Shout out to Meg. Lovers out of time. Meg is a huge fan of ours, and she's been around, and we appreciate our support.
Yo, don't say that she's been around. That shit don't sound like
No, she's been around, meaning supporting the podcast
okay.
For a long time.
Is there a player you wish would have signed for Benfica, Steve? I think after seeing Correa.
Yeah, so ones that we were actually linked to, Correa was one that I would have liked to have gotten.
Like him. Don't like him.
You don't like him?
Nope.
I was a fan. I like what I've seen of him so far.
Good, he would score 2 more goals in that game, and he shanked them both. Don't like him.
Nervoso, man. O peso da camisola, pá.
O peso do momento também.
Go ahead, because I got 2 players. Go ahead.
I
got 2 players that were, like you said, guys that were linked, right? This is how we're going to talk about guys that were linked.
Guys that were linked and recent. Right now, I'm drawing a blank. I really would have liked Grimaldo. I think he would be a great left back for the Portuguese league.
Guys é torto, caralho.
Can we talk about players that we shouldn't have gotten that we got?
No.
No, let's not start that. There's a long list.
We're gonna stick.
I want to go to bed sometime today still.
Vai lá, ainda mais perguntas.
We're gonna stick to 2 players that she said any player, but I'm gonna choose 2, and these 2 were obviously linked to Benfica. One goes a little story like this, just like I was talking about the 1994 team that went into Sporting 163. We're coached by a gentleman named Tony, who's been our coach multiple times. So he leaves and he goes on to coach Bordeaux in France. And he has this player there, by the name of, I don't know, you guys might have heard of him, Zinedine Zidane. And Benfica obviously hired Paulo Artur Jorge, whatever his name is, former Porto coach. He was at PSG, comes over to Porto, who to me, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to get me into that, he was the beginning of the end for Benfica. They were absolutely atrocious for 11 years, all due to his work. To me, he came over, he took the job at Benfica under Pinto da Costa's tutelage, who I think told him to dysfunction that whole team.
Conspiracy theory.
I'm telling you, that was a
just get to your point, bro.
So, Tony called Benfica and said, sign this guy for 500 mil euros, whatever, which is a penny nowadays. And Artur Jorge decided to sign that dude Paulo Antunes instead of Zinedine. And this is a true story. Look it up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making this up.
Right.
So that's obviously a player I would have loved to sign. Then he went on 2 years later to go to Juventus, and we all know the story. And the other guy is Ronaldinho, another guy before he left to Paris Saint-Germain. He was at Grêmio. Benfica had talks about signing him, and they obviously didn't. So those are two players that I wish Benfica would have signed.
That's Sporting were.
No, his brother was at Sporting.
All right. Here's the next one, and
continua.
we're gonna have to do. Sou Jorge Jesus. Ok. Pergunta séria. Eu fui ou não fui o melhor treinador do Benfica? Eu vou-te responder em português.
No, but you gotta say a serious question. Eu was or was not the best mixer to train Benfica?
He asked in English and he asked in Portuguese. Eu vou responder em português. Pelo currículo e pelas vitórias e pelos títulos, claro. Agora, a história do Benfica espero que se prolongue por muito mais tempo e espero que chegue outro treinador numas circunstâncias também similares e que possa bater todos os recordes que o Jorge Jesus fez até agora, porque eu acho que a saída do Jorge Jesus não dignificou o seu nome. Eu acho que podia ter saído melhor do Benfica e não o fez, e espero que venha outro treinador que surpasse os recordes todos do Jorge Jesus e que saiba sair do clube pela porta grande, não como o Jorge Jesus saiu.
Lá, para mim é simples e é muito fácil. Para mim, o gajo é o melhor treinador que eu vi na minha história, na minha vida no Benfica. Sadly, the way he went out the door is obviously unacceptable to all of us Benfiquistas, I should say. That being said, I think if he would have stuck around for another 3 years, and I think if Benfica would have paid him, he would have stuck around. If this guy would have stuck around for another 3-4 years, we're talking about he has the resume that's good enough to get a statue outside Benfica. And that's the one thing that I always take with me about JJ is that he screwed that up. He could have been an absolute legend at Benfica, and he chose to go over to Little Sporting and do whatever it is that the hell he's doing, which is cashing huge checks. But yeah, to me, he's the best coach I've seen at Benfica.
Yeah. Steve? Yeah, I think we all agree.
It's difficult to argue that.
If you look at his curriculum and his records, his titles, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think that Benfica's history will extend for much longer, and I think that somebody will come along that will surpass Jorge.
In terms of titles, does he beat Otto Gloria?
Yeah, he beats everybody, I think. Well, I mean, how many points does the Champions League count? If you're going to give points to certain competitions, I mean, you got the Champions League there. I mean, that's you say 25 pontos cada uma, at least.
But it's impossible.
Usava sapatos com madeira, man.
Era uma bola de madeira, pá.
All right, here's one from Kevin. How come nobody has a Benfica tattoo?
Yeah, Stephanie's got a monster tattoo on her leg.
Neither of us. I don't have tattoos.
That one,
I'm not gonna address Stephanie's tattoo on her leg.
Stephanie tattoo counts for all three of us.
Very distracting.
Huge.
I couldn't possibly be. If I was Stephanie's boyfriend and I was a Benfiquista, I couldn't possibly be.
No,
be in bed, and I don't know. It'd be very distracting.
I have my hand all over the tattoo all day. Like,
Kevin, I think that's a personal preference for all of us. I think that it doesn't have anything to do with the love of the club, which I don't think you're questioning. But for me, I've actually been thinking about getting a 1904 tattoo inside a rectangle.
Yo, Jorge Jesus. Stop tweeting at us, bro. I can't. I gotta do the pod, and I can't keep laughing. Stop. Don't tweet no. Para. No tweet no.
Steve, how do you feel about tattoos? Would you get a Benfica tattoo ever?
No, I'm not into tattoos. I wouldn't get a tattoo for anything.
Even your hipster self wouldn't get a tattoo?
Maybe I'm not as hipster as you think I am.
What about you, Christian?
Steve, get a neck tattoo, SOB with the barcode under it.
Christian. I think your position is well known. I think you would like to give blood, and the truth of
the matter is, I would love to get tattoos, but I'm a little bitch. The needle, and I fainted when I had to draw blood. I'm not gonna lie. Doctors rushed in. I'm sweating. It's like winter, and I'm sweating, and my sweater is like soaked in sweat. No. I will love it, but. No. I tell my mom, get tattoo. She starts laughing, do your whole body. Because she knows I'll never get a tattoo.
Nelson's favorite moment when Enzo dribbles against Sporting, he sits Eric Dyer and Bengs won against Sporting. I think that's a good moment also. There's plenty of them. Let's see. What else we got
that
here?
was a great, man.
2017. Really? I thought you were gonna say before Christmas or something. 2017, I'll be running for mayor of Amadora. Gomes, come on, man. Dude, you gotta set higher goals than being a mayor of Amadora. Come on, bro.
Yo, Estrela da Amadora, uma grande equipa, pá.
Era.
I said era.
Timo, Montorres goal versus Rio Ave in January of 2009. My first game at the Luge. Good one. Let's see what we got. Benfica change the course of Benfica history. Pick one. Keep Mourinho, sign Jardel, or not elect Valles Azevedo to. Three moments that could have changed Benfica's history.
No, the course of history. No, I think the one that could change.
Keep
the course
Mourinho.
No, because
sign Jardel or not elect Valles Azevedo.
Turned the course of the close. I mean, it's not even close because even if you kept Mourinho, he wasn't going to change the fact that they were bankrupt, the fact that this guy was stealing anything. Jardel, he would have given us goals, but everything behind the scenes, it's easy. It's Valles Azevedo. Steve.
Yeah. Same
thing. Yeah, that's for me too.
Steve, então pá, fala, caralho.
Dude, that's the same.
He agrees. I think that somebody that has that much influence on a club is definitely something that you want to. And now that we know the influence that he had, it's definitely something that, in retrospect, you wish that wouldn't have happened. I think Jardel would have. Jardel's a cokehead, and Mourinho.
Jardel was a great player in Portugal.
So I don't know.
He goes down as one of the top 3 strikers of all time in the Campeonato, if not the best. The guy was spectacular.
Yeah,
dude, I hated him. Hated his guts at Porto, at Sporting. Eu tô doente.
Eusébio?
No, Jardel, pá.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He said one of the top, if not the top. I don't think there's anywhere.
Listen, you could obviously question. The Portuguese. Listen, Eusébio might have been a better player, but you look at goals and in the time that he played. Jardel, how many golden boots did this guy win? I mean, come on, dude. The guy was a tremendous player. I said, look, top 3, arguably top the best player. You want to tell me Jardel? Eusébio? That's fine. I won't argue with you. That's fine. But hey, so what? He's number 2. It's not bad, dude. It's not bad, Steve.
No.
Yeah. So I think that's all we got.
This Jorge Jesus, man, this guy's cracking me up. I want to know follow him. Dude, the guy's spectacular. The guy makes.
It's Eric Krakauer.
Oh, fuck this.
All right, I think that's.
There's got to be more. Now, you can't go out on that note.
I think that's all we got.
Alfredo, is there a moment you'd like to take back on the podcast? I think that'd be it right there. Come on, dude. One more question. Steve wants to go to sleep.
Steve's already on, and you see that? Vai para a cama com as galinhas e levanta-se com os galos.
That's me.
All right, I think that's all we got. We're still deciding whether or not we're gonna have a podcast next week.
No,
we should.
I don't want to talk national team.
What do we got? National team? Do we got UEFA or no? Do we got Champions League?
No, next week.
Not next week. But we got. Who do we got? What do we got next, Steve? I always do this.
I don't remember now. To make me 0-0 it.
At Planet Benfica, at planetbenfica.co.uk, they also have a site.
We come back, we play Galatasaray.
Yeah.
All right, so
we play Sporting, Tondela, who just got rid of Vitor Pineda.
Yeah. So let's do a podcast next week on Tuesday. We'll preview the Galatasaray game, and we'll also preview the derby against
the game could be Tuesday. This game's probably October 21st. Was October 21st?
Yeah, that's a couple of weeks from now.
No, we play Vianense on the 16th.
Oh, we play Vianense. Não estás a ver essa merda bem, pá?
Olha aqui.
Tá aí o Vianense, não tá o Vianense? Yeah, we play Vianense next week. Not this weekend, next weekend.
It doesn't say on the schedule.
Ah, estás a ver essa merda mal. O Vianense é para a Taça de Portugal.
Agora é a minha culpa que os gajos não fazem o update the right way.
Hey, Mike, sorry.
No fazing o update the right way. Very nice.
Mike, I wish I had enough time. Mike da Costa. Luís Filipe Vieira, one of the best presidents in our history. And he also pitches Luís Filipe Vieira sitting in his chair eating his Cheetos.
What's he waiting
for our answer.
What answer?
our answer. If Luis Felipe Vieira is the best president in our history,
I don't think he's the best.
He's one of the best.
He's not the best, but he'll be in the conversation.
I think that there's
the guy that built the Terceiro Nel.
Yeah, that there's guys that are in there, man, that have done great things for Benfica with very little.
What's really helped Luis Felipe Vieira is the fact that he got us up from under all the BS, and obviously we're still in a lot of debt, but it seems that this club is heading in the right direction, man.
Absolutely.
And we got the sponsorships that we've gotten, and this is all to do with this hard work behind the scenes. So I think, just to that, I mean, guys, I don't think a lot of you understand the shit we went through before 05 and even after 05.
How many of you guys know guys that sit back, put their feet up on the little ottoman, no socks on, and just get some Cheetos in your mouth? How many guys do you know that do that? That's
I don't eat
impressive,
Cheetos.
dude.
If you say Lay's potato chips, I do.
I don't know what it was. It was something out of a packet. That was vacuum sealed.
Chips.
Whatever.
Presunto
chips. There you go. All right. I think that I think from going from a podcast that we didn't really have much to talk about, I think that this is probably one of the longest podcasts in recent history.
Yeah,
is it?
Wait. Yeah.
All right, Steve needs to. He's
It's
yawning
been an
over.
hour and a half. Not even. It's been an hour and like 20 minutes.
Yeah, what's good enough? Usually it's like 50 minutes to an hour.
Now people love to hear us, man. Look,
I know.
There's
It was very animated
There's
today.
169 viewers right now. People love to hear
Hey,
us.
Cristiano, you know what we didn't talk about? We wanted to talk about with you since you weren't here last week.
What about Tarap?
About
He hasn't got. Listen,
his
he
nightlife in Lisbon.
Unfortunately, somebody leaked some fake pictures of him. With this whole football leak stuff. And he's
That was Tarap at the club.
Hey man, look, he's we all know that off the field the dude has a lot of questions in his character. I gotta be honest, I really thought it would be different. I thought Rui would take him under his wing, and I thought that this guy would look at this as one last chance to really play in a big club and make a difference in European competitions. That being said, he obviously hasn't taken this seriously, but I think that when he does finally get back, because there's no way they're going to get rid of him. He signed a 5-year, $10 million deal. There's no club that's going to take him and pay him.
Depends on the clause. If there's a clause in there for rightful termination.
If there was a clause was in there, he would have been gone already.
Isso é muito cedo ainda, man. O gajo ainda nem estreou, man. Nem perdeu os quilos que precisava.
Mas fosse o clause, I think they would have exercised that clause already. I think at some point.
Talking about exercise.
Listen, the guy lost. They say he lost more weight than what they asked him. And you guys keep laughing.
Noitadas, man. Quando se perde o sono é assim, pá. Perde uns quilos a mais.
You guys keep laughing, but on my resume, I'm 2 for 2 right now.
Well,
so far with Julio Cesar and Jonas.
Yeah, Cristiano's got that to fall back on. Tarap was his ex, but he's got 2 O's.
Not yet.
We gotta give him some time. We gotta give him some time.
What was that? Connect the dots, tic-tac-toe, whatever, XO. But whatever. I think that when he finally does get on the field, you guys will see what I've been talking about this player. He has all the tools in the world. Just don't understand, man. He's got a 10-cent mind, unfortunately. And I don't blame Benfica for banning him and kind of punishing him and keeping him away from the club. Hopefully this does wake him up. Hopefully Rui and everybody else is in his ears and telling him, bro, you can't be doing this. This is your last chance. I know his agent came out in an interview in Morocco just over the last couple of days and said that there's no way he's leaving Benfica. He's going to stay and fight first place, and this is where he's going to be for many, many years. So I don't think he will leave because I don't think anyone will pay him. I mean, Steve, you're over there, making noises, but where the hell is he going to go? Who's going to pay for him? You think he's going to go and make $1 million then say, nah, I'm going to leave and make
Depends when he
if we can get rid of him with just cause, he's gone.
But that's the point. If you could have, you would have already.
No, there's got to be like a three strike type of deal.
Então gastei mais 2, tá bom.
Sabes lá se tem mais 2.
You just said 3.
Não, mas chegou overweight, that's 1. Pau. Agora anda nas putas. Pau.
Agora já pôs lá o vinho verde.
Não esqueces do vinho verde, pá.
Agora vai para os chips com presuntos. Pau!
If he's still there in 2017, we're going to get him to come out with us.
All right. I think that's about it. Well, you've been listening to the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. I'm Alfredo. This is Cristiano Oliveira. And on the other side of the border, legally, Mr. Steve Santos. At Steve Santos 6. At 10CO10 at Benfica Podcast. You could also, I got another Twitter, at Talking to the Dog with the D being DA.
That one in a while.
That's right. That's making a comeback. Anyway, I appreciate everybody's support and checking us out, man. The guys that were watching this live, I hope you enjoyed this and hope we were able to bring a little piece of entertainment into your life this Tuesday evening and every Tuesday evening that we're on this. Glad to be in the studio when Cristiano is able to do it when we're here in the studio. So I think it makes it a little bit more looser and funner perhaps than being at everybody's house and just being in front of the computer. So
really, I thought it was that glass of Black Label I gave you.
No, this wasn't Black Label. It was freaking half the cup was ice.
Oh, that was iced tea.
Johnny Pret, como Johnny Pret.
Farrusco.
Johnny Pret, como Timo likes to call it Johnny Pret. Timo was like this. That was a Johnny Pret. I was like, what the hell does he mean? João Pret. That's what he said.
Vamos lá. All
right, everybody.
Steve
Thanks a lot. Come back next week, Tuesday. We will.
No Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll be here Tuesday.
We are. Okay.
Or not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Arrivederci.
Steve, what's yours?
Later.
There you go. See ya.